think this is just happenstance? That lots of awkward things just popping up at the wrong time, making it seem as if there's some grand conspiracy in Menlo Park when actually there isn't, and that this just happens to be one of those things which are all bursting at the same time. What do you think is going on?
I think what is happening is a series of these incidents that have sort of like resulted in the relationship, the formal relationship between the government and the company, sort of like going downhill a little. In context to the MAP incident, it's happened before. As far as the specific incident is concerned, I think again it's just one of those incidents that just popped up at the wrong place at the wrong time, making it seem like there's a grand conspiracy when there is none.
It is not that India needs Twitter. It's Twitter needs India. If you saw last quarter's results of Twitter or last year's results, they're not a massively profit-making company. In fact, I think they make losses. But one of the biggest concerns analysts have been showing to them is no user growth. And where would user growth come from? From countries like India, from Nigeria, and that's where they have been at odds with. Twitter will be arrogant to think that we need Twitter. Twitter can be replaced very, very fast, and it has been. All technologies have been replaced if they have not.
No, but you're trying. For example, you've tried to push Koo. Koo was positioned as the Atmanirbhar app. It hasn't really taken off.
Twitter had an officer appointed who resigned. They had appointed an officer who resigned. All the other companies don't have people from their own.
Yeah, you had to appoint 3, you appointed 1.
No, so the positions are still out today. But with criminal liability on these employees, FIR being filed against the company MD, right? How many people will come and join Twitter? Or forget Twitter, the other companies which are there. It's very difficult to close these roles, right? You look at the today's scenario, there would be people in Twitter who will be under tremendous amount of stress and pressure. That also has to be looked in.
It's not like Twitter claimed inability. It is not like Twitter did anything for the 3 months. And what Kanishk and all the others seem to be missing is the fact that if Twitter had complied, then there is no question of somebody running from Bulandshahr or any other police station to another, because they had their immunity intact then. And secondly, if you look at the provision itself in terms of appointment of compliance and nodal and grievance officer, it very clearly sets out that there will be an opportunity for them to be heard before any action is taken.
2 months ago, in the month of April, you before the Supreme Court said that you were dismayed and disappointed with the way the Supreme Court was acting on COVID. 2 months later, given the role that the Supreme Court now seems to be playing, would you say it is the Supreme Court that is driving forward COVID policy?
Now, last year, government has made a very serious mistake. I would say Himalayan blunder in not declaring COVID as a national disaster within the meaning of the National Disaster Management Act. And as a result, there is no coherent policy which is framed for the purpose of dealing with, this pandemic, particularly to deal with, the welfare of the people. Now, as a result, the Supreme Court is required to interfere. Had the Supreme Court interfered last year, where we wanted Supreme Court to direct the government to declare the pandemic as a national disaster, the Supreme Court said no. Had it been done then, we would have been much better off. We would have had a very consistent policy, a good framework, and absolutely, protective, mechanism.
Even if the government comes up short of what some people expect, mark my words, people expect means some lawyers in Delhi and they go persuade the court because they happen to be in Delhi. I think the Supreme Court should not interfere too much. Show me one country in the world where the Supreme Court is as activist as it is in India. The Constitution, in my opinion, does not give them the kind of powers they do. They assume the powers. This is judicial overreach.
What we are seeing in the country right now is a clear abdication of responsibility on the part of governments. We know that we are in the middle of a pandemic. We, at the same time, are seeing that governments are in total denial. There is a constant refrain, whether it is in court or outside, where we hear people say, including the Prime Minister, that there is no national lockdown this time in the second wave, and therefore we are hearing government after government saying that things are not so bad. And yet, if you just step out, you can see the kind of misery and destitute millions of people in our country are in.
if Google is listening to a conversation, the moment you say, okay, Google, and seek any information, is that a breach of privacy? And what's the thinking in the Parliamentary Standing Committee on what needs to be done?
What Google is saying, that when you say, okay, Google, hello, Google, then the recording which gets made, some of it is picked and listened. Now, do I know when the terms and conditions are signed, there are hundreds of pages, nobody reads it.
Yes.
That means it's kind of data privacy being breached, technically in my knowledge, but I actually am not aware.
Okay.
Now, what information I would like to share, that's also not in my hand. They pick and choose.
What people have to quickly start realizing is we cannot really trust service providers for the purposes of protecting our own privacy. We will have to be consciously careful on our own. Why? Because these intermediaries are providing us world-class services for free. And when they are providing these services for free, we become the product. So once we are becoming the product, we should not really cry hoarse. We should actually be studious in only picking up those products who are effectively going ahead and protecting our personal privacy and data privacy.
As we've seen, the government had asked Twitter to remove certain tweets that were termed as disputed tweets by Twitter. So firstly, we need to understand that Twitter doesn't have any loyalty. It's, again, is led by market forces. And if we believe that Twitter is all romantic and it's here unifying, liberating factor, it's just a commercial force like any other market force.
I would rather suspect the motives of a multinational company which is here for commercial purposes than suspect the motives of the government of India. So since February, the government has been trying and they are not listening. They have positioned themselves as a champion of democracy. I mean, they are really playing with the Indian laws, trying to dare the government of India. And, you know, I don't think that this can be allowed.